nurses for the military. Later, it became a welfare distributor, a disaster relief agency, and a teaching organization. Red Cross first aid and water safety courses are a mainstay even today.
Those are always going to be booming areas, just because we want to teach people how to prevent disasters and emergencies from happening. So I look at our services as something that'll always be needed.
But in spite of its famous history, the future of the Red Cross is being threatened by a lack of money.
We have expended over $100 million in disasters, and I think last year we took in $16 million from donations. So a lot of the reserves that we have been using are gone.
The Red Cross spends between $500 and $800 on food, clothing, and shelter for victims after disasters. This year alone, the Sioux Empire Red Cross chapter has assisted in more than 30 area disasters. Now, if you'd like to donate time or money, contact your local Red Cross chapter. At least 6 people were severely burned at the Frontier Oil Refinery in Cheyenne, Wyoming today. Firefighters continue to douse oil tanks at the site. Earlier, another tank holding 250,000 gallons of unleaded gasoline burned. There's no word on the cause of the explosion.
A woman's right to abortion was reaffirmed today by the nation's largest Presbyterian organization. In a compromise statement, the U.S. Presbyterian Church acknowledged the right to abortion as a, quote, difficult option in a sinful world. The policy statement also commits the church's 2.8 million members to reduce what's referred to as the overwhelming number of abortions. Church delegates are meeting in Milwaukee. Well, a major pharmaceutical company is calling on consumers to stop taking the drug Omniflox. Omniflox has been on the market since February. It's used to treat upper respiratory infections, but it's now being linked to 3 deaths and more than 50 serious adverse reactions. Those range from severe low blood sugar, especially in the elderly, to anemia, kidney problems, and liver dysfunction.
These are all very serious reactions that if you got this reaction, you would know it. You would be in the hospital.
Now, if you are on the drug Omniflox, you should stop taking it and return it to the place where you got it. If you have other questions or concerns about the recall, you can call the McKinnon Poison Control Center at 336-3894 or 1-800-952-0123.
It's been a week since her disappearance, but there's still no sign of little 5-year-old Corrine Erstad. The man charged in her kidnapping, 24-year-old Robert Guevara, made a routine court appearance today while attorneys on both sides argued over procedural matters. Authorities spent yesterday combing a park and trailer court in Oakdale. They also used a police tracking dog. The dog smelled the girl's scent on a piece of clothing and walked to the front door of the mobile home where Guevara lived. On the way into court today, Guevara mouthed the words, "I didn't do it." Another disturbing story tonight, this one about a Texas baby. Houston authorities say a birthday party for 1-year-old Joel Mercer turned violent when Joel's mother allegedly shot him and his father. During an argument, Frida Mercer allegedly grabbed a gun and fired it in the general vicinity of her husband, who was also holding little Joel. It went through the baby's back and through the husband's side. Joel is in stable condition tonight, his father in fair condition.
Well, they aren't real guns, but those super soakers are causing quite a stir in Boston. Mayor Ray Flynn is calling for stores to quit selling the souped-up squirt guns. A super soaker fight in Boston last month escalated into a shooting with a real gun that left 1 person dead. But one Boston toy store owner calls the mayor's super soaker ban, quote, the most stupid thing he's ever heard. He says toy stores sell plenty of other products that are more dangerous than squirt guns, such as baseball bats and hockey sticks. Well, imagine having to escape your homeland in the midst of a war. The courageous story of 2 women who did that when we come back.
And later, LA Police Chief Daryl Gates calls his own bluff. You're watching Eyewitness News tonight.
America's best-selling minivan, Dodge Caravan.
Now during Dodge's first national minivan sale, get hundreds cash back on popular caravan options, ranging from leather trim to anti-lock brakes to child safety seats. In addition to cash back on popular options, get a $500 rebate too. See your nearest Dodge dealer by June 22nd.
America's best-selling minivan, Dodge Caravan.
With our new Celebration Sampler, you get a dozen ways to celebrate. 12 food items, including a chimichanga, taco, enchilada, and 7-piece dessert plate. Just $7.99.
Chi-Chi's celebration of food.
Chi-Chi's wants you to ride the movies. You could win a trip to Universal Studios in Hollywood or Florida. Experience Earthquake, the big one. Meet Fievel and Friends. See actual production and more. You'll fly U.S. Air, the official airline of Universal Studios. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited. Register today.
Isn't moving great? I've got a million things to do and one day to do it. Luckily, I've got some help from US West. With express service, I got my phone connected overnight. That's how I found out my furniture was somewhere on the planet. Where? I've got the yellow pages, a pager, even call waiting. Hold on a second. Hello.
Miss Lombardi, your furniture will be there in 10 minutes.
Great! Except I'm not Miss Lombardi.
US West, making the most of your time.
We're doing something right, and what we're doing right is offering the customer a low price every day. They don't have to shop the sale ads. They know they're going to get the best value for their dollar here at Walmart. The economy is not at its strongest point right now. Everybody's watching their dollars the best they can. What we do here is we offer them the best product for the best price, and that's why they keep coming back.
If you see news happening, call the Eyewitness News Line, 336-9999.
UN Secretary General Boutros Ghali says he wants the Security Council to send 1,000 peacekeepers into war-torn Yugoslavia.
That in order to open the Sarajevo airport for relief flights. Bosnian government forces are trying to break the Serbian siege that has left Sarajevo cut off and very short of food and medicine. But Serbs have the city under fierce artillery bombardment. Officials say at least 14 people have been killed and 350 have been wounded since this morning. The destruction and devastation stretches far and wide. Tonight it brings fear and uncertainty to a family in South Dakota. Lisa Pierce tells us tonight that two sisters in Aberdeen are keeping a close watch on the events.
It's been not only a journey of miles for Ksenia Radovanovic from her home in Sarajevo, Yugoslavia to Aberdeen, South Dakota, but also one of fear and sorrow. Ksenia was living with her mother and father when the fighting broke out in Sarajevo.
Everybody was terrified, and we were really scared because then they would start shooting, and you could just we had to hide. You know, you couldn't walk straight through the house. You had to you know, crawl. You had to crawl so the bullet wouldn't come in. We would have to turn the lights, all the lights off at about 2 o'clock and put the shades and everything.
With no food and electricity and the fear of snipers, Ksenia and her mother decided to leave.
We went to the airport and the people stopped us on the way there, but they didn't take anything because we didn't have anything with us. And then when we came to the airport, they started shooting, so we had to run from the airport to hide.
Eventually, Ksenia and her mother were airlifted to Belgrade and safety. Her father chose to stay behind in Sarajevo. Ksenia's sister Becca is currently an exchange student at Northern State University, so she continued on to America. Becca has had to get most of her news about home from television and newspaper reports.
My first reaction, I really wanted to go home because I just felt so guilty that I'm here and safe, and I just wanted to go and share the same destiny with my sister and my family.
Becca says the fighting back home is hard for her to accept and knows the life she remembers is gone, maybe forever.
I don't know what to say when they ask me, so what country are you from? What can I say? And how not to feel the shame of what some of the people are doing.
Both Ksenia and Becca are afraid for their parents' safety and hope the fighting ends soon. The girls hope to return to Sarajevo one day, but for now pray that their family and friends will make it through some of Yugoslavia's darkest hours. Lisa Pierce, Eyewitness News, Aberdeen.
In other news tonight, it doesn't look like Congress will pass a bill for aid to Russia in time for President Boris Yeltsin's visit to the U.S. next week. That's according to Secretary of State James Baker. The Bush administration had hoped Congress would approve the Russian aid bill by next Monday when Yeltsin is scheduled to talk with President Bush. Baker's talk with the Russian foreign minister is expected to focus on arms control. Well, global warming is the topic of the latest rift in Rio at the first ever Earth Summit.
That story tops the news around the world tonight. The United States is pressing European countries not to up the ante on already tough global warming treaties. The new treaty says countries must take immediate action to limit their greenhouse gas emissions. The Bush administration forced a reduction in the emission requirements outlined in the treaty. A GP Express commuter plane crashed in a heavily wooded area in Alabama today. Authorities say 2 people are dead and 4 people are injured. The plane went down just before it was cleared to land at Anniston Airport. GP Express is an airline based in Grand Island, Nebraska, which also serves South Dakota.
5 people are dead tonight after the van they were riding in ran into a cement truck in Mineola, Texas. Authorities say a trip to a youth camp turned tragic today when the driver of a church van ran a stop sign. At least 8 people are hurt as a result of the crash. Meantime, officials in Galesburg, Michigan say they think they know why the driver of a monster truck rammed into spectators during a show last night. The Kalamazoo County Sheriff's Department says the driver might have been unconscious after hitting his head on the roof of his truck when he landed very hard. The driver's helmet had cracks in it. A 6-year-old boy was killed in the accident and at least 14 others were hurt.
Los Angeles Police Chief Daryl Gates is going, but not quietly. Today, he reaffirmed his plans to retire at the end of the month. Gates says he was just bluffing this weekend when he said, "I'll retire when I'm good and ready." He says he was just trying to make the city promote 8 officers on the force. Gates says city leaders are politicking with the promotion list.
For future candidate Ross Perot, there are no endorsements, but lots of suggestions tonight. Perot is meeting with a group of big city mayors in Dallas. The Texas billionaire is supposed to outline his positions at the meeting, in particular his position on how the federal government could help inner cities. The group has already talked with Bill Clinton, but has been denied meetings with President Bush.
South Dakota is one of the states that bans write-in votes during elections, and today the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that states can keep that practice going. State Elections Supervisor Chris Nelson says no one is really pushing to have write-in voting in South Dakota, so his office plans to leave well enough alone, unless, that is, the federal government steps in to change that. Well, I'd like to write in maybe a little sunshine tomorrow.
That sounds pretty good. Phil's up next to give us the lowdown on the week's weather.
What Quality Buick dealers are having a summer sale. And a winter sale. The summer sale is you can save up to $1,500 on a new 92 Buick Regal. And if you receive this coupon, save an additional $500. The winter sale is a week-long cruise giveaway. All you have to do is stop in and register. It's our summer sale and our winter sale.
Buick stands for quality. Just ask a friend.
Come in and register for a cruise today.
How do farmers rate their axial flow combines? More grain, better grain quality, less maintenance, higher resale value. Check out the advantages of an axial flow combine and rate it yourself. Take these 6 steps to better grain quality. If you're looking for better quality grain and more of it, step up to an axial flow combine.
Visit your local South Dakota Case IH dealer now.
Our 5th anniversary, and they call right in the middle of dinner.
You know, I got one of those calls trying to get me to change from AT&T to
MCI.
I guess you gave them my number. Dave, they said.
Dave.
He put them on to me, too, about this friends and family thing. Yeah. What are you guys talking about, Dave, giving out your numbers?
That's who did it.
At AT&T, your friends are your business. Keeping you connected to them is ours.
Dave, what? You know anything about this friends and family thing?
Trust me, it's just not worth it.
Bonjour. Today we'll be cooking a fabulously simple dish, lamb couscous in a saffron tamarind sauce en croûte.
Easy for her to say. Even easier is just to come to Perkins for our special summer menu filled with waffles, salads, pitas, and skewers. So come on in for Perkins' summer menu, because the easiest way to cook with imagination
Simple, no?
is to let us do it for you.
Now for the entree.
Former employees of Richmond Gordman in Sioux Falls are bitter that the company didn't give any notice of the store's closing. But that bitterness is subsiding, replaced by the harsh reality of collecting unemployment and looking for a new job. Laid-off workers say if they'd had any warning, they could have gotten unemployment earlier.
I'd like to talk to Nelson personally and ask him why in the hell he didn't tell us.
Nelson is Nelson Gordman, the president of Richmond Gordman. Phone calls to his office in Omaha went unreturned. around to Phil in the Weather Center, and we had rain this weekend.
Right.
Are we going to keep having some more this week?
Well, unfortunately, I don't think so. This is maybe about the end of it, and then the rest of this week.
Sweet, huh?
That's right. You know, last week was pretty decent as far as rainfall amounts go, and that's what we're going to start off with, talking about those tonight from our weather watchers. And rainfall amounts from yesterday into today looking like this, and they were heavier mainly to the north. KBRK Radio in Brookings and Dallas Cole calling in with 65/100ths of an inch of rain there. Again, that started yesterday and lasted some of it into early this morning. 4/10ths of an inch of rain from Lorraine Alexson in Porter, Minnesota. Just 1/10 of an inch in Sheldon, Iowa. Meanwhile, Morris Skirmans in Wagner with just over 3/10ths of an inch of rain. Not much in Armour, just 8/100ths of an inch there. Just about 1/4 of an inch from Lytle Smith in Alexandria. 4/10ths from Don Seedorf in Wentworth. And in Sioux Falls, from yesterday into today, 13/100ths of an inch of rain. The high today, 68 after a morning low of 53. The normals for the 8th of June in Sioux Falls are 78 and 54. Our record high was set back in 1963 at 94, and the record low 36 set at 1978. And this 13/100ths of an inch of rain that Sioux Falls received is starting to bring us back to normal. We're still a little bit below now. You know, most of this year, Sioux Falls was above normal. We're still less than 1/2 of an inch below normal right now, but we're trying to catch up. Right now, temperatures in the 50s and 60s. A pretty pleasant night, 63 in Pierre. Rapid City, 60. The warm spot, Bismarck, North Dakota at 69. 58 now in Watertown. Mitchell reporting 62. And right now in Sioux Falls, it is 65 with a mostly cloudy sky. Relative humidity is at 81%. A light easterly breeze, about 9 miles an hour, and our pressure steady at 30.01 inches of mercury. Well, here's our three-dimensional satellite loop. And we had a few breaks in the clouds earlier this evening. Those breaks are filling back in. A few more clouds moving in from the west. These thunder showers are dying out, although some thunderstorms still going on in portions of Kansas and Nebraska and into Colorado as well. Across the country now, temperatures like this: 78 in St. Louis, 68 in Detroit, 72 New York City. Tampa, Florida has 73. Warmer in Jacksonville at 81. San Antonio, 86. 94 in Phoenix. Still 90 degrees right now in Boise, Idaho. A warm one out there tonight. Low pressure area to the south, setting off the showers and thunderstorms. If you watched the Twins game tonight, you probably were. If you're watching us now, they were getting rain for most of that game there in Kansas City. Showers and thunderstorms further to the south. More flooding in the Texas Panhandle. Just what they do not need. They've had way too much rain down in Texas so far this spring. Highs today in the 60s and 70s, and this warmer weather is moving our way. Not so much tomorrow, but by Wednesday into Thursday and Friday, we'll really be warming things up. There's the low now down to the south. By tomorrow morning, still some showers and thunderstorms down there. Still some clouds in southeastern South Dakota. Watch out for some fog developing tonight and lasting into tomorrow morning, too. Then by tomorrow night, this little front dying out with partly cloudy conditions and warmer weather beginning to float up from the west and southwest. Our forecast now for tonight for the Sioux Falls area looking like this. Mostly cloudy with still a chance for some light rain developing, and watch out for fog too. Low around 54, light southeast breeze. Sunrise tomorrow morning at 5:46. During the day tomorrow, we'll start off with some fog and clouds and then slowly move those clouds out during the day. 73 for your high, southeast wind 5 to 15. Sunset at 9:06. And our extended forecast now again shows the clouds moving out tomorrow. A little warmer on Wednesday. And by Thursday, we really warm things up into the 80s to lower 90s. About the same on Friday and Saturday, too. So we're really warming things up. And unfortunately, not much in the way of rain. So hopefully the stuff that we got really sunk in and will stay there for a while.
Hope so. Thank you, Phil.
Sure.
Coming up in sports, minor league baseball is back on its way to Sioux Falls.
Plus, Jeff talks baseball with a member of the original Canaries. He's up next.